Today I'm going to teach you how to Texas rig a worm. Soft plastics are very key to knowing how to Texas rig a worm or any sort of soft plastic. Senkos, lizards, worms, anything like that. You've got to know how to Texas rig a worm. It is the most, in my opinion, the most effective pond fishing bait that you can have. It's always key on a fast day, slow day. You can usually catch a fish on a Texas rig. You just have to change up what you're throwing and the colors that you're throwing. So I will fish them in lakes, ponds, anywhere that I don't know the landscape. I'll throw a Texas rig. There's a bunch of other ways to fish, but a Texas rig is very important. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your hook and you're going to take your worm. I have a 7.5, 8-inch trick worm, Zoom. So what you're going to do is run it through right there till you get to this bend, all the way till you get to the bend, and then pull straight out, just like that. You have this worm in line with the bait, with the hook right now. You're gonna pull it up all the way to this bend. Once you get to this bend, flip it, and then pull straight up, just like that. And it's sitting right now. It's sitting in that bend up by this eye. It should be in line with the bait, just like that. It should be just in line with it. You take it with a good bend in it and pull it all the way through to where it's nice and straight. Now to make this weedless, you're going to take it and pinch forward and pull back. And you can run your finger over the top of it to see if it's weedless or if it's going to snag. So once you have this, you have your Texas rig. You have it rigged right now. But what you're going to need to do, you can fish this. You can fish this weightless. But what I like to do most of the time for my curly ribbon tail worms and all that type of stuff is add a bullet weight to it. You have the option between tungsten and lead usually. So the tungsten, there's the pros and cons of both of these. The tungsten is smaller, but it's still heavier than that lead. Even though that lead is larger, the tungsten's more dense, which makes it heavier. So I personally like the tungsten, but the tungsten's probably $1 a piece. These is probably, the lead is, a pack of this is probably $2. So lead is very cheap compared to tungsten. Tungsten is expensive, up to $1 a piece. I fish different types of hooks depending on the size of the worm and the fish I'm catching, but most of the time you'll be fine with a 2 to 3/0 worm hook. See, that's a 1/0, but I usually fish small stuff with the 1/0. But thank you, and hopefully you learned how to Texas rig worm.